Trails West by Greyson and Spencer. In 1840, the 6 trails, the Oregon Trail, the Santa Fe Trail, the Gila Trail, the Mormon Trail, the California Trail, and finally the Old Spanish. All these trails were very popular for moving west. They would use a wooden wagon connected to an oxen and then put a bonnet on top of it for shade. This was called a wagon train. You only rode in the wagon train, though, if you were pregnant or hurt or had medical issues or any diseases. Most people walked. Reasons people went west were to make money, to find more land for farming, and other things like fur trading. Life on the trails was very dangerous, though. It was either really hot or cold, but sometimes in the middle. A lot of people did die, but many were forced to cannibalism because of hunger. There were many accidents happening year-round. One of the most famous accidents was also a good warning for other people who attempted the trails. In 1846, a group known as the Donner Party, led by George Donner, were traveling west as they came up to the Sierra Nevada. George thought that going through the mountain would make it a 40-mile shortcut, but ended up being 100 miles longer. Going up the mountain, disaster struck as the axle on their wheel broke. The same day, it snowed 5 feet, which made them stuck the entire winter. This led up to low amounts of food very quickly, where they were forced to eat their horses, and then eventually each other. Only a few survived, but those who did actually never ate human flesh. This disaster became an example for those who were attempting to go for what not to do. After lots of failure and success, it was finally discovered that starting your journey west in April was the best time to start, because if you start any later, you have to make it through winter, and most people just got stuck. Another example of a group moving west was the Mormons. The Mormons were a Christian group that was looking to move west to Utah for little rainfall. They wanted to build dams and get away from Christian discrimination. Many died, though, because getting through the Rocky Mountains was near impossible in the winter. Most made it through to Utah, though. A lot of different groups that were going west, like the Mountain Men. Mountain Men were a part of people who wanted to be wilderness heroes and find a way of life west. So what they do is they would use silver traps to trap beaver, and then they would skin them and then traded them to the trade rendezvous. The bigger wildlife is what the problem was, especially for one mountain man named Jedediah Smith. One day, Jedediah Smith was forest trapping beavers when all of a sudden a grizzly bear leaped onto him and pinned him on the ground, breaking some of his ribs and almost ripping his ear off. Old Jed got the bear off of him and had a procedure done by one of his companions where he basically sewed his ear back on with a needle. Jed got back up and went onward. Using wagon trains and going west was obviously the way to get west, but by May 10th, 1869, the Transcontinental Railroad was finally finished and it was much easier to have a trip west.